news just coming in from Gujarat, where the Prime Minister is today. Take a look at these pictures. Inaugurating Maruti Suzuki's electric car battery manufacturing plant in Gujarat today. These are pictures coming in from Hansalpur in Gujarat. This is Maruti Suzuki's new plant capable of manufacturing electric vehicles and batteries being inaugurated by Prime Minister Narendra Modi today. These are pictures live on your screens at this point in time. As you can see, flagging of inaugurating this plant. This is the Hansalpur plant in Gujarat. The Prime Minister is present in this event along with the Gujarat Chief Minister, Bhupendra Patel, the Ambassador of Japan. This is E Vitara, the brand's first electric vehicle in India. It's being exported from this plant to 100 countries across the globe. This is an event that the Prime Minister is a part of. In fact, he announced yesterday that he would be in Gujarat. Today, he is flagging off Maruti Suzuki's first global EV, which is E Vitara, in Hansalpur plant, as you can see in these pictures. This is the inauguration of the localized production of hybrid battery electrodes and flag off exports of Maruti Suzuki's first global battery electric vehicle to more than 100 countries. This includes Japan and also to several European nations. The Prime Minister has spoken about the fact that this is a special day in India's quest for self-reliance and being a hub for green mobility. Maruti Suzuki all set to commence the production of his first-born electric SUV at Suzuki's Hansalpur plant in Gujarat. The Prime Minister is there in this event along with the Gujarat Chief Minister, Bhupendra Patel. Ambassador of Japan is also there. It is to be noted that E Vitara is the brand's first electric vehicle in India and will be exported from this plant to 100 countries across the globe. With the launch of the SUV's production, Prime Minister Modi is set to inaugurate manufacturing of Li-ion battery cells and electrodes. So strong hybrid vehicles at TDS Li-ion Battery Gujarat facility in Hansalpur, a collaboration among Toshiba, Denso and Suzuki. In spite of previous delays due to disruptions in the availability of rare earth materials, Maruti Suzuki says they remain optimistic about achieving its annual goal of 67,000 units. Before production begins, the company has already increased, they say, the capacity to support the manufacture of approximately 59,000 units of E Vitara from the 25th of October this year to March next year, reaching a peak production capacity of 440 vehicles every single day. E Vitara has made its worldwide debut in Europe last year and was displayed in India during the Bharat Mobility Show 2025. It is built on the innovative 40PL dedicated EV platform developed in partnership with Toyota. Will also be producing a Toyota counterpart known as the Urban Cruiser EV. The electric SUV will be available with 2 battery choices, is what we know. In fact, in the upcoming months, what we will learn is about the variants, the features, the launch timeline in India. The Prime Minister, like I mentioned at the outset, has spoken about this being a special day for India's quest for self-reliance and being a hub for green mobility. The Prime Minister there, the inauguration of the localized production of hybrid battery electrodes and flagging of battery electric vehicle exports to 100 countries from Gujarat. In fact, with this particular milestone, India will be serving as Suzuki's global manufacturing hub for electric vehicles. These initiatives align the government's broader vision of positioning India as a global hub for electric mobility, advanced manufacturing and infrastructure development, also strengthening the goal of becoming Atmanirbhar in the area of green energy. The Prime Minister is to continue his stay in Gujarat, also in the railway sector. Today, he would be dedicating projects worth over 14,000 crore, including 530 crore, doubling of the 65-kilometer Mahesana-Palanpur railway line. That too is on the agenda. Chetan Bhutani has got more details on that story. It's a big development. Chetan, vis-a-vis India also positioning itself as a country that is the hub of green energy products. And also the fact that this inauguration is being done at Hansalpur, Gujarat, which really is the hub of providing manufacturing these vehicles, and also providing these vehicles to not just Japan but also to other European countries. We'll connect with Chetan Bhutani in a moment from now, but these are details that we are sharing with our viewers at this point in time on why and how this is a big development for India. The Prime Minister at the Suzuki plant, these are made in India EVs, and they are going to be sold outside India as well, in Japan and many other European nations. In that sense, it's a message to the entire world about Make in India initiatives. Chetan is back with us. Chetan, manufactured, made in India, also in complete alignment with India's goal of self-reliance, sending out a message that India can be the hub for producing products of this kind. We're selling these to Japan and to many European countries. Get us the details.
Well, absolutely. One of the biggest days in India's automotive industry when Maruti Suzuki had initially delayed its plans of getting the electric vehicle to the Indian markets. Now it's officially rolling out its battery electric car and to plant as well, which is the E Vitara, that was showcased at the Bharat Mobility Show. In fact, very interestingly, Prime Minister has himself come up to inaugurate the plant and also manufacture and also increase the manufacturing of India's battery capabilities, where Maruti Suzuki, in collaboration with Suzuki's global companies, namely Denso and others, would be collaborating and developing in-house lithium-ion batteries, which would be significant for India's Atmanirbhar Bharat, as you just pointed out. In fact, I also highlight for my viewers that these electric cars that would be manufactured in India would be exported to 100 plus markets all across the world. And whereas India market is concerned, it would definitely be impacting a whole lot more development, because the battery pack, which is the base of the electric vehicle, would be manufactured in India, and Maruti Suzuki in particular won't have to rely on the global markets to procure its batteries, which is the base of the vehicle. So very important day for the Indian automotive industry. The Prime Minister has arrived at the venue. In about 35 minutes from now, we are expecting the Prime Minister to speak and address at this historic occasion when we see India's first lithium-ion battery for an electric vehicle being manufactured here in collaboration with Suzuki. So clearly a very big day for both Japan and India.
Also, China controls 85% of the global battery cell production, 90% of processing of raw materials, used really in two lithium variants that dominate today's EV market, isn't it? In that sense, it's a big message to countries of the world, across the world, that you can now start to look beyond China, isn't it?
Absolutely. In fact, we are expecting that Prime Minister, in his speech at the Suzuki plant in Gujarat and Hansalpur, is expected to speak on these lines only, that not particularly naming China in particular, but he would be mentioning, of course, that India is the place to go for manufacturing and investments, because as you correctly pointed out, that China controls nearly 75 to 85% of the market when it comes to the rare earth magnets and, of course, the batteries. India, however, is becoming self-reliant with, of course, Suzuki and Maruti in collaboration leading the charge for setting up its own plant, which could be exporting to 100 plus countries. So there's a massive capacity that Suzuki has built with its co-partners, including Denso, one of the biggest manufacturers of lithium-ion batteries. And of course, the Prime Minister is likely to address the issue of the rare earth magnets and of course the battery parts that India will have to procure eventually. And now with Maruti coming into the picture, of course, massive size and scale of economy is expected, because if India is exporting to 100 markets, it would definitely be easily catering to the domestic market as well.
In that sense, India has become a big hub really for the manufacture of EVs, like you said, in Japan and other European nations where these cars would be exported as well. Talk to us about how India is looking to expand further, because Chetan, this is in perfect alignment with what India has been focusing on for years together, actually, trying to make us the big global hub for electronic vehicles. That really has been our endeavor. The government's push really towards this is for all to see, isn't it?
Well, absolutely. Correctly pointed out that now India has the opportunity on the African markets and the Chinese market playing on its battery electric vehicles. We are now with of course, Suzuki and Maruti leading the charge. I think for the core component of the electric vehicle, India would, of course, leading the charge with Maruti. India would now be focused. And of course, global investment players would also be encouraged to set up its base in India because remember, a cheap cost of land plus a good cost of labor is the backbone of any good corporate conglomerate that to set up its factory in India. So India has all of it, and Prime Minister is expected to make a speech on these lines that India is the hub of innovation and investment, and we would want that global companies like Suzuki must start its base in India.
All right, these are details that we have with us. We'll connect with Chetan in a moment from now. But what is clear before us is the manner in which India is becoming Suzuki Global EV Hub, as the Prime Minister there in just a few, in fact, on your screens right now are pictures unveiling the E Vitara in Gujarat. It's Suzuki's first global strategic, I beg your pardon, battery electric vehicle manufactured and exported to more than 100 countries. This includes in Europe and in Japan. The Prime Minister has inaugurated, dedicated and laid the foundation for this particular project. What's on focus is green mobility, clean energy, power infrastructure. He's also going to be, in fact, speaking. He's at the Suzuki motor plant right now in Hansalpur, where two milestones are being celebrated. The first is the inauguration of the localized production of hybrid battery electrodes. Second, of course, is the flagging off of India-made EV exports to 100 countries. One of the biggest announcements of the visit is the launch of the E Vitara, which is Suzuki's first global strategic battery electric vehicle. Entirely designed and manufactured in India, the model is going to be exported to more than 100 countries. In fact, put those pictures out on your screens in just a second from now with the rollout of this vehicle. India is set to officially becomes rather today, Suzuki's global manufacturing base for electric vehicles, owing to the Make in India push, is what is being said by the government. The Prime Minister inaugurating localized production of hybrid battery electrodes at the TDS lithium-ion battery plant in Gujarat. It's been promoted jointly by Toshiba, Denso and Suzuki. The facility marking a major milestone in India's domestic battery ecosystem. Officials speaking about the fact that 80% of the battery value will be manufactured in India, strengthening the nation's roadmap towards Atmanirbhar Bharat in clean energy technologies. The Prime Minister, on a post on X or Twitter, said, and I quote, "Today is a special day in India's quest for self-reliance and being a hub for green mobility." He's spoken about the program at Hansalpur, the battery vehicles made in India, exported to over 100 countries. It's a big boost to our battery ecosystem. Production of hybrid battery electrodes will be commencing at a plant in Gujarat. The E Vitara made its worldwide debut in Europe last year, was displayed in India during the Bharat Mobility Show 2025. It's built on the innovative 40PL dedicated EV platform, developed in partnership with Toyota, also producing Toyota counterpart known as the Urban Cruiser EV. Chetan is in fact with us. Chetan is at the very plant where the Prime Minister is in Hansalpur there. Chetan, this is extremely important from India now serving really as Suzuki's global manufacturing hub for electric vehicles.
Oh, well, absolutely. We are at the Hansalpur plant, and the Prime Minister is just about to reach the podium in about 34 or 35 odd minutes. He would be addressing the audience at large and addressing a very important milestone in India's automotive history. When India's Maruti, in collaboration with Suzuki, is now opening it for the largest plant and which is exporting about 200 plus countries. Remember, in the backbone of any electric vehicle is, of course, the
battery, a lithium-ion battery, which of course India has to rely upon for many countries, including China. This would definitely reduce its dependence on China, especially India. Maruti Suzuki was the largest manufacturer for cars and vehicles. And when it comes to the electric vehicle foray, we would be expecting India's Maruti Suzuki to not be reliant on China, but and be focused on the India market, completely Atmanirbhar, and focused on how to manufacture in India and export to 100 plus countries as well. So really a big event, an automotive event in India's automotive history. We'll be seeing the Prime Minister also talking about on the lines of India becoming Atmanirbhar and of course reducing reliance in the times of unprecedented tariff situations. We see situations developing with US, India opposing up with China with respect to various tariffs being removed and opening up of its markets. So clearly, all in all, a very big day for India's automotive history, where India becomes self-reliant to one of India's largest manufacturer.
Chetan, we spoke about this, but more details, please, on how China has really been working towards, controlling this entire market, establishing not just the dominance which they have done to a great extent, but also consolidating that position. This, in a way, upsets China's apple cart, isn't it? Countries can look beyond China now for this.
Well, absolutely. India is now looking forward and more beyond than what Chinese markets are working on. India has one of the two key companies that have invested in Indian automotive space. But yes, the reliance on China would definitely reduce because remember, Maruti Suzuki manufactures about 3 lakh odd cars and exports 3 lakh cars actually and manufactures about 26 lakh odd cars in India, one of the largest car manufacturers. And when Maruti Suzuki begins on a Atmanirbhar Bharat journey, it definitely comes out at a massive scale of economy and size, which we will see because now when Maruti Suzuki starts to develop the lithium-ion batteries, it would be exporting to 100 plus countries, which would really make sense for India's automotive industry. And of course, taking the cue from that, many automotive Indian companies would be taking a cue and manufacturing in-house, especially the lithium-ion batteries and rare earth magnets. Of course, China has opened up its markets for rare earth magnets, but yes, the times of crisis of unprecedented tariffs plus a global geopolitical situation, we see it's best that a market like India should be self-reliant, and that's what the PM's message would likely be.
I'm going to leave it that for the moment. Chetan Bhutani getting in those details. They're joining us from Hansalpur in Ahmedabad, where the Prime Minister is at the Suzuki motor plant today. This is a big development and is in perfect alignment with India's ambition of becoming a big manufacturing hub of electronic vehicles. The beginning has been made with Maruti Suzuki's plant.